A new song, Clara's Journey. In the quiet coastal town of Seabreeze, nestled between rolling dunes and a restless ocean, lived a young woman named Clara. At 24, Clara was known for her infectious laugh and her knack for fixing things: bicycles, radios, even the town's old lighthouse clock. She ran a small repair shop on Main Street, her hands always smudged with grease, her overalls patched from years of use. Clara's life was simple, predictable, and solitary, but she carried a spark of curiosity that made her dream of something more. Seabreeze was a town where everyone knew each other's stories, or so they thought. Clara, though friendly, kept her deeper thoughts to herself. She, grown up there, raised by her grandmother after her parents passed away when she was young. Her grandmother had taught her to fix things, saying, "If you can mend a broken clock, you can mend a broken day." Clara took those words to heart, pouring herself into her work. But at night, when the shop was closed and the town grew quiet, she'd sit by her window, listening to the waves and wondering what lay beyond the horizon. One autumn, a stranger arrived in Seabreeze. His name was Elias, a musician with a weathered guitar case and eyes that seemed to carry the weight of 1,000 untold stories. He was in his late 20s, with tousled brown hair and a quiet demeanor that made people curious. Elias had left behind a noisy life in the city, where he'd played in bars and clubs, chasing a dream that left him drained. He came to Seabreeze seeking silence, hoping to rediscover the music that once felt like his soul's language. He rented a small cottage near the cliffs, just a short walk from Clara's shop. The townsfolk whispered about Elias. Some said he was running from something, others thought he was just another dreamer passing through. Clara noticed him one morning when he brought a broken metronome to her shop. "It's old," he said, setting it on the counter, "but it's special to me. Can you fix it?" His voice was soft, like the low notes of a song, and his hazel eyes met hers with a warmth that caught her off guard. Clara nodded, her fingers already itching to take the device apart. "I'll give it a try," she said, offering a shy smile. That evening, Clara worked late, tinkering with the metronome's gears. It was a delicate piece, its wooden case worn smooth from years of use. As she adjusted the springs, she found herself humming, a habit she rarely indulged. When she finally got the metronome ticking steadily, she felt a surge of pride. The next day, Elias returned to pick it up. "You're a miracle worker," he said, his face lighting up as the metronome's steady beat filled the shop. They talked for a while about music, the ocean, and the quirks of Seabreeze. Clara felt something stir inside her, a connection she hadn't expected. Over the next few weeks, Elias became a regular at the shop. He'd bring small things to fix: a lamp, a music box, a pocket watch, though Clara suspected he didn't need half of them repaired. They'd talk as she worked, Elias leaning against the counter, strumming his guitar softly. Clara learned that he'd once been part of a band, traveling from city to city, but the constant pressure to perform had burned him out. "I forgot why I loved music," he admitted one day, his fingers pausing on the strings. "I came here to find it again." Clara listened, her hands still as she worked on a radio. She understood wanting to rediscover something lost, though she wasn't sure what she was searching for herself. Their conversations grew longer, spilling beyond the shop. They started meeting at the beach, walking along the shore as the sun dipped low. Elias would play his guitar, simple melodies that blended with the sound of the waves. Clara found herself opening up, telling him about her grandmother, her love for fixing things, and her quiet fear that life was passing her by. Elias listened, really listened, his eyes never leaving hers. "You're not stuck, Clara," he said one evening as they sat on a driftwood log. "You're building something piece by piece. That's what fixing things is, right?" His words stayed with her, warming her like a fire on a cold night. As winter approached, Clara realized she was falling for Elias. His kindness, his quiet humor, the way he made music feel like magic, it all drew her in. They spent more time together, sharing coffee at the town's diner, exploring hidden coves, and laughing over silly things, like the time Elias tried to fix a bicycle and ended up with a wheel spinning in the wrong direction. Clara felt alive in a way she hadn't before. She began to imagine a future with Elias, one where they built a life together, filled with music and mending. But as the days grew shorter, Clara noticed a change in Elias. He became quieter, his smiles less frequent. He'd cancel plans, saying he needed to work on his music, but when they were together, he seemed distant, his thoughts somewhere else. Clara tried to ignore the sinking feeling in her chest. She told herself he was just struggling with his music, that it wasn't about her. But the doubt grew, heavy and unshakable. One stormy evening, Clara couldn't take it anymore. She walked to Elias's cottage, rain soaking her jacket, and knocked on his door. When he answered, his face was tired, his guitar lying untouched on the couch. "Elias," she said, her voice steady despite the knot in her stomach. "What's going on? You're pulling away and I don't understand why." Elias looked at her, his eyes heavy with something she couldn't read. He invited her in, and they sat by the small fireplace, the crackle of the flames filling the silence. "Clara," he said finally, his voice low, "I care about you more than I can say, but there's something I haven't told you." He paused, running a hand through his hair. "I'm not staying in Seabreeze. I got an offer to join a music project in the city, a big one. It's a chance to do what I love, but it means leaving." Clara felt her heart lurch. "Leaving," she whispered. "When?" Elias looked down. "In a few weeks. I didn't know how to tell you. I didn't want to hurt you." The words hit Clara like a wave. She'd let herself believe in their connection, in the possibility of something lasting. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" she asked, her voice breaking. "I thought we were building something together." Elia's face twisted with guilt. "I wanted to, Clara, but every time I tried, I saw how happy you were, and I couldn't bring myself to ruin it. I thought maybe I could stay, but this opportunity, it's what I've been searching for. I have to go." Clara sat there, the warmth of the fire doing nothing to ease the cold spreading through her. She wanted to beg him to stay, to tell him she loved him, but the words caught in her throat. Instead, she stood, her hands trembling. "I need to go," she said, and walked out into the rain, her heart breaking with each step. The next few weeks were a blur. Elias left Seabreeze just as he'd said he would. Clara threw herself into her work, fixing clocks and radios with a focus that bordered on obsession. The townsfolk noticed her quietness, but she brushed off their concern with a forced smile. At night, she'd sit by her window, the sound of the waves no longer comforting. She felt foolish for believing in love, for thinking Elias was different. The shop, once her sanctuary, felt empty without his visits. Months passed, and Clara began to heal slowly. She started taking evening walks again, letting the rhythm of the ocean soothe her. She joined a community art class, learning to paint, something her grandmother had always encouraged. The colors on the canvas became a way to express what words couldn't. She made new friends like Sarah, a baker who shared her love of fixing things, though Sarah's fixes were with dough and sugar. Clara laughed more, her spark returning, though the ache of Elia's absence lingered. One spring day, as Clara walked along the beach, she saw a figure by the water. Her breath caught. It was Elias. He looked different, his hair longer, his posture weary. He turned and their eyes met. For a moment, neither spoke. Then he walked toward her, his guitar case slung over his shoulder. "Clara," he said, his voice soft. "I'm sorry for everything." Clara's heart raced, but she held her ground. "Why are you here, Elias?" she asked. He sighed, looking out at the ocean. "The city, the music, it wasn't what I thought it would be. I missed this place. I missed you." He paused, his eyes searching hers. "I made a mistake leaving like that. I thought I was chasing my dream, but I lost something more important." Clara felt a rush of emotions, anger, sadness, and a flicker of the love she'd once felt. But she was different now, stronger. "I loved you, Elias," she said, her voice steady. "But I can't go back. I've spent months picking up the pieces, learning to be okay without you. I deserve someone who stays, who chooses me." Elias nodded, his eyes glistening. "You're right, you deserve that. I had to tell you I'm sorry." Clara looked at him, the man she'd once thought was her future. "I forgive you," she said, meaning it. "But I'm moving forward." She turned and walked away, the sound of the waves steady in her ears. Elias' music might have been his dream, but Clara was finding her own song, one of resilience, hope, and a life she was building piece by piece. As the years passed, Clara's shop thrived. She painted, laughed with friends, and even started teaching kids in Seabreeze how to fix things. She never forgot Elias, but the pain faded, replaced by a quiet strength. She learned that love could hurt, but it could also teach. And Clara, with her tools and her heart, kept mending, knowing that her story was far from over.